Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We are excited to have all of you attend today's webinar. My name is Assam Dabsh from Microsoft. I'm an enterprise digital specialist for employee experiences within healthcare and life sciences. Allow me to take a moment to thank Vitalist for collaborating with Microsoft to provide you all this powerful session where you can discover more about enhancing the employee experience with Microsoft Viva. So with that, allow me to hand things off to Jen Myers, our Employee Experience Senior Specialist at Microsoft. Jen, floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Assam. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks everybody for being here with us today. I wanted to share some really interesting industry trends with you all, since we're all a part of the healthcare space. We love research at Microsoft. In fact, a lot of this research fuels our product decisions. This research, though, happens to be from an industry thought leader. For those of you who are a part of HR, you may have heard of him, Josh Bersin. He and his company do a lot of work with HR organizations, and they recently published some fascinating research about workforce trends in healthcare. And really what he points out is what's happening is a developing workforce crisis. And so what he's shared in this research is that we're seeing a very significant retention issue. 60% of caregivers are actually not only leaving organizations, but many are actually leaving the profession entirely. And what he's projecting over the next 3 years is a shortfall of about 2 million nurses. The good news he points out is that there are things that we can do to hopefully counter this. So the first would be retaining our people. And as he points out, what we really need to do to retain people is rely on the employee experience. And how do we create a fabulous employee experience for people? The second thing he focuses on is how do we reskill and retrain our workforce? And then the last area he focuses on is really a redesign of job, of operations, and really optimizing. How do we make work more effective? How do we let nurses and caregivers get back to what they want to do, which is nursing, versus having to spend time on tasks like administrative tasks? All of these things are really, what we hope to help organizations achieve with Viva. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Seth, to share a little bit more about how Vitalist has been able to work with healthcare organizations in this regard and share a little bit, of those stories. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jennifer, and greetings, everyone. When we look at what's happened in the past few years and also recently, the clear objective that many of our healthcare and life sciences customers have shared with us is just that. They want to be able to drive a better experience. Briefly, when you think of Vitalist as an organization, we've worked with a variety of different healthcare and life sciences customers. It's one of our largest verticals or segments of organizations that we partner with, and we really emphasize the human side of whatever that change is that they're looking to embark upon or that they've already started on and they need a little bit of assistance with. I'd like to describe to you in short what some of these customers, some of our healthcare providers, payers, and our life sciences organizations, what they're trying to accomplish. People are no longer choosing a job based solely on a location and a paycheck. They want to have purpose, flexibility, growth, and development opportunities. And they also want a culture where they feel that they belong. This is whether they're frontline workers or back office staff. Employees want to make an impact, to make a difference, and they also want work-life balance. In short, they want a better employee experience. What we're talking about is the essence of the answer to the question, why Viva? During this presentation, we'll showcase 3 modules from the Viva suite. By the time we're finished today, you'll be able to see how to enable employees to be in the know, to feel that they're being heard, and to give them readily accessible tools and information they need in the flow of work for their role within the organization. We'll also show where these employees, where they have a hybrid-ready digital experience platform which supports them anytime and anywhere. And finally, you'll understand what the enterprise can do to foster a culture where people don't just simply work, but they thrive. But how did we get here? What are some of the scenarios, some of the use cases that our healthcare and life sciences customers have brought to our attention that cause this emphasis to be placed on employee experience? I'm going to spend a couple minutes. I'm going to share some. We'd encourage you to pay attention. These may not be exactly the same for every organization, but what you hear may resonate because it might seem very similar to what you yourselves in your organization are dealing with presently. We'd also encourage you to pay keen attention as my colleague, Pat Spurrier, in just a few minutes, will demonstrate how Microsoft Viva answers these problems and what some of these scenarios can be resolved with from the Microsoft Viva suite. So what are those scenarios? The first, our organization is segmented into different groups. Some employees are in front of patients, while others are working from home. Still others are at a clinic in front of a device. How do we connect in a meaningful way with all of our employees? Our second scenario. Well, what can we do to correlate the well-being of our team members with leadership so that we can deliver analysis-based help to address targeted challenges that are most important to our organization in order to improve our ability to provide the best patient care? Our third example. Even before COVID-19, our workforce was changing. And since late 2019, it's changed rather dramatically. We're geographically dispersed across multiple states and throughout various time zones. Where can employees look to get an inclusive solution? One that makes them feel connected, even if they're not here at our corporate headquarters location. Our fourth scenario. We need help to shift to a 2023 way of working versus the 1990s mindset we had previously. When our employees are looking for documents they need, how can we make it easier for them to locate relevant content? And finally, our fifth example, this use case is taken from an individual standpoint. Because I'm busy and don't have a lot of time to spend on learning, having to navigate several different learning platforms and point solutions is overwhelming. And that's on top of my already hectic schedule. If training is mandatory, of course I'll take whatever is required. But to be honest, that's about it. Where can I find a source of learning which is focused, which is curated for my development and in the flow of work, allowing me to grow and expand my horizons? These scenarios, these questions that you just heard, they're going to be answered within the flow of work using Microsoft Viva. I'd encourage you to please give your undivided attention to Pat Spurrier as he demonstrates for you how Microsoft Viva provides the best employee experience.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction there, Seth. We're going to answer all of those questions with a handful of the different Viva modules. We're gonna go over 3 of them here in our time that we have today. So we're gonna cover 3 of them. I'll do a brief introduction of each of them before going in and doing a demo on one of the use cases that these Viva modules address. So we're going to start off with Viva topics. So with what Jen was saying earlier, in the beginning of today's session regarding Viva topics and how the workforce is shifting, it's changing. In HLS and in other business sectors as well, whether it's people looking for a new job or a new profession, the actual workforce and our employees, they're changing faces. And with that change of face also comes a potential loss of knowledge as folks may leave our organization due to high turnover. And that's what Viva Topics was created for, was to empower people with knowledge and expertise in the apps they use every day. And Viva Topics does that by automatically organizing content and expertise across your systems into these related topics, like they could be projects or products or processes. And they come in the form of topic pages, which are created and updated by AI. These topic pages enable experts to cultivate and share knowledge with wiki-like simplicity. And topic cards deliver knowledge just in time across Outlook, Teams, and Microsoft Office 365. So address the issues that Jen mentioned, that Seth mentioned. Viva Topics was created. It builds upon Microsoft 365. You'll find that a lot with these Viva modules, is it's building upon the existing investments you already made in both Microsoft 365 or other products, so that you don't have to rip out and replace existing systems. You're augmenting them and bringing them into the flow of work. And Topics does that by applying AI to identify knowledge and experts across your organization and organize that knowledge and categorize that knowledge into shared topics. And the AI even creates a nice topic page for each of these. And then these topic pages are edited and approved by experts within your organization. So you can really think of it, Viva Topics, as sort of like Wikipedia for the organization, where AI does the first draft. And what's also powerful is that the AI surfaces these topic cards right where people are working. It surfaces them organically in Microsoft Teams, in SharePoint, and in Office. So if you find an acronym that you're not familiar with, or maybe a project name, you can hover over it and you get this immersive topic card you might be able to kind of see pictured here, where you could then click on it to get more details. Because Viva Topic automatically organizes content across your teams and systems to connect topics like projects, products, processes, and customers, information is ready when and where you need it. Experts at the company can also help curate information shown in topics by sharing knowledge through simple, highly customizable websites called topic pages. Along with content from Microsoft apps and services, Topics also surfaces information from third-party services like ServiceNow. And then there's graph connectors to make it easier to connect to content, or to connect to even more content employees would find helpful. And Viva, being a Microsoft product, it provides the security, privacy, and compliance that you would expect from a Microsoft 365 product. So you can trust that your sensitive content is protected. And it comes with powerful content controls to allow you to shape the delivery of knowledge in your organization. It's actually based on Microsoft Search. It'll pick up on any information that's indexed in Microsoft Search. If for some reason there's any sort of topics or just subject matters that you would want to omit from the AI kind of creating into this topic page for your employees to reference, there's a block list that you could use if you want to not generate a topic, maybe based off of an acquisition or a merger or something like that. So by default, topics are designed to be seen by a broad audience of licensed users, and you have the option of limiting that visibility to specific topics. And the nice thing about it is that topics is only going to show information that people have access to in 365. So if there's a topic around a certain project and there's any files associated with it that have specific permissions, you'll only be able to see them if you have those permissions as well. So what does putting these topic cards together look like? Well, everybody will be discovering knowledge through Viva topics. So this is like what the roles would kind of look like in your organization if you kind of decide to go down this path. So everybody will be discovering knowledge through topics. Any subject matter experts can help edit the top of the page to make sure it's of the highest quality. So they can add their own skills and expertise to what the AI has already discovered and put together for them. And then we have knowledge managers who oversee the overall system of topics that's set up by Viva. And finally, we have knowledge administrators who typically are in a role responsible for security and compliance, as well as assigning any Viva licenses. And all these roles come together to help drive knowledge discovery through the organization. And again, and at the heart of Viva Topics, it's really about bringing together people and AI. As we mentioned before, the highest quality of knowledge in most organizations comes from blending the power of AI with the expertise and content that you have inside your organization. Knowledge management is a team sport. So it's important to include as many people as possible in this, and not just the knowledge managers who set up and administer the system. It's the experts who help review and curate this information. So let's see what it looks like in action. So let's say I'm in my company here, and I'm hearing this term tossed around a lot, and the term is Mark 8. It's an initiative in my company that I'm not super familiar with. So as a user, one of the first things I might do if I'm trying to find out some more information about myself is I might do a search. So I might come in here and I might just type in Mark 8 into the Microsoft 365 search. And I can see that embedded right in search is the power of Viva Topics, showing me a small little synopsis of the topic in the form of a topic card as one of my results. So I can quickly see a summary of the topic. The Mark 8 is an industrial 3D printer that will help organizations impact profitability while controlling their finances. If I want to learn more, I can just click on the title of the topic, and I'll be taken to the topic page where I get a little bit more robust detail about what the specific topic is. So I can see all of the different people who are involved in the topic that have contributed to this page and have kind of helped build this out, or just people that the AI has picked up on these are the folks that are working on all of these files related to Mark 8. And again, this will only show me the files that I have access to. So if I didn't have permissions to one of these files, it just simply wouldn't show me here on the topic page. And if I continue to scroll down, I can see some suggested SharePoint sites where the Mark 8 topic is referenced. So if I was in this scenario where maybe I'm a new employee, I keep hearing this term Mark 8, now I can go and I can see, oh, okay, maybe the elevator pitch file will have a description of what this product is so that I can get skilled up on it. And I can go and I can review this deck, or maybe I want to reach out to one of the experts involved to ask them a question about it. I can very easily do so. I can see all of them here, and I can just go and head over to Teams and then send them a message to learn more about the product. So this is just one way that topics are surfaced in Microsoft 365 through search. but they will also show up organically on SharePoint sites, in Teams posts, and in email as well. But I want to switch gears to another Viva module, and that Viva module is Viva Connections. Viva Connections is one of the most popular modules that we find with the health and life sciences clients that we speak with. And I think that the reason for that is that it hits home on a lot of the pain points that a lot of the folks in the industry are currently going through. So Viva Connections was built around culture, around communications, and around engagement, as these three pillars are needed to support any organization's mission. Culture guides people's behaviors by establishing shared values and beliefs that are supported by reinforcement systems. Communications align people by clarifying vision and progress towards shared objectives. And engagement activates people to contribute their best selves to the effort. So there's a virtuous cycle of strategy, culture, communications, and engagement, a cycle that accelerates agility and innovation and builds up resiliency. But that cycle slows down when connections are reduced. And that's why, while organizations are investing in people-centric tools like Microsoft Teams to help people collaborate together and get work done, they're also investing in new tools to foster connections between people and each other, between people and the whole wider organization. So, how can we foster culture to keep people informed and engaged? How can we connect people beyond their working groups to connect them to either resources or expertise or knowledge elsewhere in the organization? Well, one way that we can do that is with Viva Connections. So Microsoft has done a ton of research, as has some other organizations, into some of these themes around employee engagement. According to Gallup, 15% of the global workforce feel engaged at work. That's pretty low. Only 28% of employees understand what their company's strategy is, according to IBM. According to Gallup, 26% of employees feel up to date on company news. And according to SHRM, a staggering $64 million is the cost of poor workplace communications. So how do we address this? Well, we can address it through Viva Connections. If you're not already familiar with Viva Connections, it is the gateway to your employee experience. It brings together news, announcements, conversations, apps, tasks, resources, all in a single destination in Microsoft Teams, so that people never have to leave the hub for teamwork. The experience reflects your organization because you can brand it with your name, your icon, whatever colors you want to use. And it's personalized for each employee with the AI curated feed of relevant content, information, and resources. And as an organization, you can also tailor the experience to specific user groups, like frontline workers, or people in a specific region, or people in a specific role. And you can add custom components that enrich your employee experience using no-code configurations or powerful developer frameworks. You can integrate investments you've already made in partner solutions from leaders like Workday and ServiceNow. And best of all, Viva Connections and its experiences, they leverage the investments you've already made in Microsoft 365, like SharePoint, Yammer, Stream, and Teams. And it's backed by security, compliance, and identity controls that enable you to build an employee experience you can trust. But what are the key experiences in Viva? The key experiences come in threefold. There is a dashboard. You can think of the dashboard as sort of a company home for the employee. It's a centralized destination for employees to find and act on company tasks and specific action items for their job. And it's targeted. So the right roles and geographic locations see the right tools. Next, we have the feed. The feed aggregates news and conversations into a single space, into a social media-like feed that a user can scroll through so that they can stay on top of everything they might want to know about. And lastly, there's the resources page. This is powered by SharePoint, and it helps you to quickly navigate to evergreen sites, to frequented locations, and key organizational destinations. So before we take a look at the product itself, well, what do people typically use it for? Viva Connections is often used to create engaged employees by giving everyone the power they need to succeed. It delivers a single location where employees can find the latest news, discover what's happening around the org, and collaborate with coworkers from across different silos. It makes it easier to bring coworkers together to build relationships that lead to a dynamic and engaged workforce that grows and learns together. And the three scenarios that we typically see people roll out Viva Connections for is for, well, connection. By using the tool to enable employees to discover relevant communications and communities and tools. It's often used for inclusion, to give a space where every employee can contribute ideas and share feedback by using the conversation and the social community tools baked in. And it's used for inspiration, to align the organization around your vision, mission, and strategic priorities. With the shift to kind of a remote hybrid work, things have gotten easier to become misaligned. So it gives a single space where leadership can come and communicate to the wider audience what our strategic objectives are and allow folks to participate in that communication with Q&As and comments. And in keeping with the spirit of Microsoft Viva and not ripping out or replacing your existing tools, it provides an extensible platform directly through the dashboard experience where many partners have created pre-built integrations for IT, HR, and employee experience solutions that you can plug directly into your Viva Connections experience. If you attended Microsoft Inspire recently, they did introduce a collection of partners committed to building on top of Viva Connections. We can see them listed out here. And these are very simple integrations to set up. It's just a few simple steps. An IT admin can find these at Microsoft App Source or the SharePoint store. From there, they add it to their app catalog and deploy it into the Viva Connections dashboard. So it's very simple to set up, and as a partner, we can help you every step of the way. And lastly, before we dive in, to kind of sum up Viva Connections, it's really there to deliver relevant information as a communication tool, but it's a two-way communication stream. It's also a place where folks can share and connect with their coworkers or share and connect with leadership, and a place where people can go to grow through mentorship. So let's take a quick look at Viva Connections. So if I jump over to my Microsoft Teams tab here, I'm actually already at Viva Connections, but it's right here pinned in the left-hand side of my app bar, where I can go and click on it, and I'm here at my Viva Connections landing page. So at the top, we can see some of the company news that's been aggregated for me to view, that I can go and look and get caught up on what's happening in my organization and get aligned on what our strategic objectives are. On the right-hand side here, we see that dashboard. This is the place where you would make your third-party integrations into the systems that you already have. And it can be a great way to target specific tools to specific user groups so that they have almost like a little toolbox here of their frequently used tools that they can come and choose from right here from this portal. For example, here in this one, I have an HR tile here from my HRIS system. And I can see that it's giving me a little snapshot of how much PTO I currently have. Without leaving the app and jumping into my HRIS system and signing into that, I can simply click on this, not the card itself, I can click on this little report button, and I can get a little bit more of a detailed report of my balance of PTO pulled directly from my HRIS system. But that's not all. If I wanted to, I could also submit a PTO request right from here. So this is like an example of one of the types of integrations that you can make into one of the systems you've already invested in and help bring it to life in Viva Connections by putting it at the forefront for quick access for user actions like this. We've baked many of these into the intranet sites that our clientele builds in Viva Connections. Some are specific request forms that a specific department would use on a daily or near daily basis. We can bake those right into here to bring that actionable item right to where people are already working. This is just the general Viva Connections experience. I can see my upcoming company events, all of the different news that is catered directly to me. And I can go and navigate to more specific pages from here up in the nav bar at the top. But we still have one more module to cover. So if there are any questions, feel free to put them in chat. We do have somebody addressing those. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Viva Learning. So interesting statistics, 94% of employees said that they would stay at a company longer if invested just a little bit more into their learning and development. So we can really see the importance of investing in employee learning and development here. With the landscape of job reshuffling and uncertainty in the market, retention is a top priority for organization leaders. So this exemplifies a new view on corporate learning. Learning can be used and should be used to support business strategy, not just for compliance or required trainings. With this, companies need to prioritize their employees' growth and development. They'll have to do this by investing in new technologies that can help. New technologies that can either fill open roles within the company through upskilling and promotion of current talent as a reaction to a tight labor market. New technologies that could position their company-provided learning as a key benefit and differentiator to offer to their employees. At a stark contrast to the high demand and need for learning, we see employees spending only 1% of their work week on learning and personal development. And I mean, who could blame them? The learning ecosystems that most people have access to are complicated and not something that they hear about often from their managers, their peers, or their leaders. So what we need is a new way of thinking about learning. Learning should be top of mind for organizational leaders, something that's built into the company culture and built into the employees' day-to-day. In fact, 84% of L&D leaders think it's now more important to integrate digital learning into corporate collaboration platforms. And you can kind of think of Viva Learning as that learning platform. So if we look at like the current landscape when it comes to learning, right now out there, there's several categories of learning solutions and platforms that have dominated the learning market. We have learning content providers. Those are the source for actual learning content and courses, these content providers. There's lots of large players here like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, Pluralsight, Skillsoft. And then outside of the content providers, we have learning management systems, or LMSs. They're often used by admin or management to track learning progress at the company and provide insights on learning culture. They also provide a platform to deliver learning content to employees by aggregating content from the content providers we just mentioned. And then what the LMS provides is that it's able to deliver that content through course assignments and learning paths. Big names here would be SAP, Workday, Cornerstone. They leverage a push model for enterprise learning. So most companies with an LMS, they find that their employees are simply consuming the mandatory trainings and otherwise don't take advantage of the rest of the content that's contained in the LMS. And then another one that I'm excited to tell you about, which is new as far as categories for learning solutions go, is the learning experience platform. So at a basic level, a learning experience platform has some functionality that an LMS has. Its main difference, though, is how the learner interacts with the platform. Whereas an LMS provides that push model of assigning learnings to users, LXP solutions are a curation-based pull model. Learning, or the learners that interact with these learning experience platforms, they provide their career goals, their learning interests, and then the platform makes recommendations almost in like a Netflix style fashion to connect those learners to the content that they think would interest them. This is a new category and it's growing rapidly in the market. Some early players being Degreed and Edcast. So what does this leave us with? I'll leave us with a host of different solutions that employees have to navigate through on top of their day-to-day responsibilities. Add to that the fact that all of these learning solutions sit outside of the employee's typical work surfaces, meaning employees have to consciously decide to get out of their email, get out of their Excel file, get out of their collaboration space, get out of their meeting to go launch their LMS or learning experience platform so that they can focus on learning. So as a result, these learning experience platforms or LMSs suffer low engagement. A lot of the time showing single-digit engagement percentages outside of the mandatory trainings. So organizations need to send a signal that they're invested in their employees' growth and development, and through a fresh way that the industry hasn't seen before. Times are changing, and the need for a modernized learning solution is high. Which raises the question, what if there was a learning solution that intertwined learning throughout the workday? Think of what that would do to engagement with learning and employee retention as a result. And that's where Viva Learning comes in. Viva Learning brings regular learning into the flow of work by integrating it right into the platforms that employees are already using. Viva Learning is built for Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365, meaning that it's in a unique position to truly bring learning to where employees are working, like integrating into Teams chat and tabs and throughout Microsoft and Bing search. Your employees are already using Teams as a decentralized learning platform anyway. In every meeting, in every chat, in every document collab, people are sharing information, they're gaining knowledge, they're learning new things and growing. Viva Learning brings structured features and capabilities and integrations with formal learning to really supercharge the learning activities that natively occur in every team's environment. With learning being an extension of the productivity platform rather than a separate entity, It makes it easier for employees to prioritize their growth and development. It also makes learning inherently social, which is an extremely effective way to learn. Plus, for managers and organizational leaders, it sends a signal to employees, a signal that we're prioritizing a culture of learning and growth by placing it top of mind and making it easy to access. So let's take a look. I'm going to jump back into my Teams window here. And on the left-hand side, I have Viva Learning, which I can go to see my own personal learning portal right here in the flow of work. Just some features here. We can see a carousel of promoted learnings up here at the top. This is one way that an organization can kind of promote specific courses, is by placing them here on the carousel. This is something that you can configure. And right below that, we have some of the personalized courses that are being recommended to me. So right down here, you can see I have the ability to kind of go through and pick all of the different interests that I would like to learn about, like maybe career development and cloud computing, creativity and data analysts. And by saving those interests, I'm then offered a suite of trainings that align with those interests, so that I could go in and learn about what interests me. So it really does give that sort of Netflix style recommendations based off of what you say you're interested in and what you've learned about already by using the platform in the past. And in keeping the spirit with Microsoft Viva, it's not there to replace your existing systems. It's there to augment them. We can see here that it works with Saba, Go1, Coursera, edX, InfoSec, Josh Burson Academy, Pluralsight, LinkedIn Learning. And these are just the content providers. It also integrates directly with SAP from the LMS side and Cornerstone, so that you can still have your assigned learnings and still track those assignments that you're making through the LMS, but you can actually surface them right here in Viva Learning. So I'm just going to very quickly just click on one of these that is kind of in that carousel, and we can see that I can take my learning course here right within the flow of work in Microsoft Teams. I don't have to leave the Teams environment to go and consume my learning content. I can do it right here in the flow of work. And if I'm finished and I like it, I can rate it and even share it with a colleague. So I can grab a link to it, or I can share directly into Teams. If I want to make a post about this, maybe this would be really good for the retail channel. And I could say, you know, hey, all, this training is very applicable to a project we're working on. So if I find something that my team should know because I think it will help us as a group to accomplish one of our goals, I can go ahead and share the training to my team with a Teams post. There's also ways to do it with the Teams chat, and it's also integrated in Microsoft Search. So I know we only scratched the surface of Viva Topics and Viva Connections and Viva Learning. There's other Viva modules out there that you might be interested in as well. And behind every Viva module, Vitalyst has a solution for you. As our client experience solution architect, I've personally designed all of our solutions around each of the Viva modules to help you, whether you're in the discover phase and you're still learning about the module and evaluating it, or whether or not you're putting it out there and you're making that big adoption push for your end users to get them to start engaging with the platform. As a partner, we have something in place to help you along every step of the way. Our solutions around the Viva platform are truly end-to-end, from envisioning and planning all the way out to end user adoption and upskilling your workforce and promoting the tool. And we typically get started on those with our Microsoft Viva Employee Experience Workshops, which dive deep into these. And I'll pass it over to Allison to tell you a little bit more about our workshops.
Thank you, Pat. So if you are interested in diving deeper into the modules we showcased today or other modules not focused on today's demo, we're here to help. So we offer a Viva Employee Experience Workshop as well as a Viva Insights Workshop where you can learn how Viva can be beneficial to your organization. So the Employee Experience Workshop requires you to choose at least 2 of the Viva modules you'd like to focus on, while our Insights Workshop is going to focus solely on insights and dive deep into that. These workshops focus primarily on the art of the possible, that middle section right there, which helps organizations discover how Viva can assist in transforming their employee experience. We also look to identify business use cases, remove any potential roadblocks, and help different lines of business leaders understand the value of Viva. Our workshops can be done across a 1 or multiple day span, and typical length time is 6 to 8 hours. If eligible, the workshops can be funded by Microsoft, so that's at no cost to you. This is a really instrumental first step into acquiring or finally turning on that Viva licensing you purchased. In addition, I just wanted to make those aware, we have solutions following workshops, which are Viva enablement services, where we assist around pilot and full deployment of the Viva modules and taking you through each step of implementation. So again, if this is of any interest of you, you can contact myself or Assam, and we can move you to the next step of scheduling an initial envisioning session with the Vitalist team. I am also going to place a short questionnaire in the chat, and this is just a simple 3-question form just for us to get a better understanding of who on this call may have interest in attending a workshop in the near future and go from there. And that's all for me on the Viva workshops. And Jen, I'm just going to pass it back to you if you want some closing last words.
Sure. Thanks, Allison. Yeah, and everybody, thank you for attending. I think in terms of the workshop that Allison recommended, it's a great opportunity to align, I think, with, what are some of the priorities of your organization and how can you help drive those with something like this? It's a great place to start, and it gives you great visibility into where to begin, how do we envision it, and how do we drive, kind of the adoption and change plan within our organization around it. So hopefully you can take advantage of that. And I think with that, we will close today's event. As always, Microsoft is here to help, and obviously your partner Vitalist is here as well to help with any next steps around this. Thank you all again for taking the time today.